Hey everybody, what's up? So for the longest time, I've been thinking about the whole physical versus digital debate still. And the problem is I've made videos several times talking about it, but they haven't gone anywhere. I just always feel like there's something missing. Something more that could be added. And because I have trouble sleeping, it occurred to me that for me, it really has to do back in the time of VHS tapes. Now hear me out. I am not old. Um, it used to be a time when, you could go to a local video store, you know, depending on where you're at, you could rent video games, consoles, rent movies. Um, if if the movie you were looking for, couldn't be found, you'd have to go to another town, go to a few different places if you had the availability, or somebody to drive you, depending on how old you were, find it. One of the first movies that really got me into wanting to own it on VHS, now I have it on DVD and Blu-ray, is Running Man. That movie was something I watched continuously, more than any other movie I've watched. Basketball is next with close to about 50 or 60 viewings. Because she rented it for months straight from a grocery store that I worked at that sold videos. So I rented videos. And I just remember going to the store, the video store, renting movies, just having a blast, whether they were ones I've seen in the movie theater or ones that never came to town, because where I lived is basically a one screen theater, and I never really went to the next town over because I'd have to get somebody to drive me until I was old enough. And I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the movies they were showing. The first time I ever went there was when I was about 16 when I went to see Interview with the Vampire. And that was one that I had to get on VHS because I loved it. I wanted to watch it over and over again. And so for me, having that enjoyment of being able to go to the library, which had very few movies, check out a movie from there, go to the video store, rent a movie or two for my weekend, that meant a lot to me. Just because of the fact that I had it available, because some of the movies I watched, nobody really rented, at least what I could tell. And as VHS and stores continued, there was still that deal of you can't find what you're looking for unless you knew the right person. Like if you wanted to watch anime, you could go to Suncoast Videos, for which for me was like an hour away. I did get some movies from there, a couple of anime. I'd go to Best Buy, Target, Walmart, always looking for movies, always looking for deals. It wasn't until, and we didn't have a Blockbuster for the longest time. Let me just get back here. One of the I worked in two different grocery stores, and one of them, excuse me, had a video department. And I said to the manager, I'm like, why don't we have South Park? Because cartoons were kids. He didn't agree with it. I'm like, go talk to the people who watch anime around here. At that time, my anime was very limited to what you could find on TV. And so when I went to Suncoast Video, I found anime. There are a couple I wish I'd gotten because you can't find them on DVD. Trying to think of the names of them right now, but I can't. But I did get a few, including Vampire Hunter D. When FYE opened up for a while in one of the local malls, I would go in there. At that time they were starting on DVDs, and so I got more anime um, from there. Not a lot, just stuff I was interested in, like Ninja Scroll, a couple others. And I remember my first DVD pack being the Clerks animated series, which was pretty fun. Excuse me. And so that really started it off because you couldn't watch on TV anymore. Same with God, the Devil, and Bob. They stopped airing the episodes. I got the DVDs because I wanted to watch the entire series. And having that availability, was just amazing. I know people on Facebook, YouTube, who talk about the movies they rented when they were kids that I had never even heard of before. Now, obviously, one of the video stores that I didn't go to was in downtown in the city that I worked in. That's close by, but I didn't like driving downtown. If I go there, I still go. It's a CF. And obviously, I was, not finding a lot of the movies I wanted. But when I worked at the one grocery store, I fell in love with Necronomicon, which is a great anthology series that is loosely based on some of Lovecraft's work. You can find it here on YouTube. Again, on VHS. Again, I don't have my VHS tapes. It's insanely expensive. There are places I'm trying to track down where you can get it on DVD, which is region free. So that'll be something I'm doing next year. So for me, having that time frame really pushed me to buy more and more VHS tapes, having them available. You could go even to Sam Goody, which is like FIE, which sold music and, movies. So fast forward a few years when I moved to another state for about 7 years to work. And, excuse me, there was a little dry. Um, there was a bookstore, I can't think of the name of it. It closed down, unfortunately. Oh, Hastings. Just remembered. Um, you could buy books, movies, music in there. You could rent movies. And I remember one time my ex's son wanted this movie. He'd gone with his dad to visit some of their friends in another state. And they watched this movie called Escanaba into Moonlight, which I was not a fan of. They loved it because of the scene where people are farting, and I was like I told, I had no sense of humor. I'm like, you guys talk this death, why would I find it funny? But then I started replacing some of my movies that I had on VHS, like Orgasmo and Basketball. The Running Man, I didn't have as many then as I do now, but I did have some. And I bought them because, if you went, the only store that I knew of was either Hastings or Blockbuster. I don't remember if there were any other stores in the area that had them, renting movies. I went to Blockbuster a few times, but their selection didn't thrill me. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Really didn't rent anything there, but I remember going to Hastings and just buying movies. Like my first time, I remember getting like Army of Darkness on DVD. But also at one point, a roommate got Netflix, so he's renting movies from there. This is a while later. At one point, had wanted to see Little Pet Shop of Horrors, and he ordered it for me. I'm like, I wish I'd gotten it because it's such a cool movie. This really interested me, and I was also streaming stuff. And the problem with the streaming was there was movies I was watching. We're talking 12 years ago, so don't ask me what it was. Vampire Mike reminded me of one of the movies, but I can't think of it now. So when I moved um, back to the town, moved back to where I was originally living from when I was growing up, I had no access to Netflix for a few months. When I got Netflix again, the movies I wanted were gone. Um, Because at that time I, gotten a job at another, finally gotten a job at another place. That's happy working there for the longest time. And from there, I could go to Best Buy. I could go, oh wait, Best Buy and Target were also in the city where I was working, so I did go there for movies. I didn't go to the Walmart that much, buy movies. It was just one of those weird things. It was closer to where we live. And, you could go to Best Buy and Target, if you're on your way to work or killing time before starting your shift. And so I'd always look for different stuff. I didn't buy a lot. But then the Blockbuster closed down. Eventually, Hastings closed down at one point. I think they were still open when I moved out of that state. Um, I can't remember. I think they closed down later on. I don't remember. And so, moving back, the only places you could really get movies were if you went to Target, Best Buy, or Walmart. Dollar General as well. You can get some pretty interesting movies there. But the thing with Netflix was there was movies that I was streaming I couldn't watch because they were gone. So I had to find them on DVD. I'm not a big fan of streaming. I do have some streaming services because there's stuff that I want to watch that's only for like BritBox, Acorn, Paramount, or Hulu. Which I have. I watched intermittent stuff on those. And I let a friend of mine use my Paramount because they like a particular show that's on CBS. They don't have cable. And they can watch on there. They also use my Paramount to watch movies, which I'm fine with. And I have a couple other services. Everything is really low end. The two others that I have are yearly about 10, $12 maybe. Um, I did pay for, I do have Acorn, especially because there's a wonderful show called Midsummer Mysteries, which is like a long running show in Britain. And it takes a while to catch up. There's like 90 minutes per episode. And, it kind of reminded me of how Asian Sleep, he was talking about how, I think it was Law and Order that he was watching, and it was just gone from streaming, and he bought the DVDs. People buy a lot of DVDs from shows they like. College Humor actually made a song, I wish I'd looked it up, it was called, about having, the stuff you enjoy available. On Acorn, they have a show called Doc Martin, and if you pay for it, on Acorn, you can continuously watch it, but it's like $100 for all 10 seasons. Even like with, I can't think of it now. Forever Night. Um, I remember that was like on CBS, Central Broadcasting System. Because I'm in the U.S. That's what it's called. Just for people out there in different countries. Um, and I didn't see all the episodes. It was on late at night. This is back when I was in high school. And you couldn't find it on, VHS. So when I got it, I was happy about finding it so I could watch everything I missed. And once again, it was like no streaming service had it. So, excuse me. Um, Having those available meant a lot to me because once again, not on streaming. I admit that I bought some movies on Amazon Digital, which I know they're not always yours because of the fact that they're a lot cheaper than the movies on either DVD, Blu-ray, and they're just ones that I want to watch a few times. There's ones that I've watched here on YouTube that you can't get streaming anywhere else, as far as I know. Inbred Rednecks. Hold on, Evil Dead Inbred Rednecks. They're like part of a two pack. I can't find the other one, which is I Choose Spit on Your Grave. That's done by this company that if you don't know who they are, or if you can't find their stuff, but if you know who they are, you might have been able to find it when it was released. It was like $40 for the DVD used on eBay. Like I'm not spending that much. Once again, which is why, sometimes I have to use streaming if it's available. I won't. I bought a few digital games. I admit that because they were a lot cheaper, and it's more than I could afford at the time. I still have bought a few digital games, but once again, they were cheaper. Ones that would take me a while to play, so I know I could go back to them. And I don't plan on buying Xbox X, Series X, or PlayStation 5 with them going to digital only. At some point, that really ruined it. Going to Target to buy movies is a pain because my local Target is severely limited on what movies you can buy. Um, I hadn't gone there for a while, and when I went back one day, the selection of movies sucked, the selection of games sucked, Walmart's games sucked. Best Buy was you had to scan a QR code to have them bring up your game because they're not selling movies and Blu-rays anymore or video games that for that matter, you're kind of stuck going on to GameStop to find games in my area because there's only one store now close by. A lot of those are sold out. So I've had to go with eBay, I've had to go with Amazon. I really see that to me as being the future of movies. Walmart still sells a lot of movies. They're ones that I've never heard of before that seem interesting. So yeah, I'm going to buy them. And I love the debate of everything because really, I was reading a movie and review on Collider talking about Oppenheimer. They said basically it sold out of the 4K Blu-rays within a week on all major retailers, and they were trying to get caught up with restocking shelves. A lot of movie producers and directors are saying we need more releases than anything else. Because, if you narrow it down to how many streaming services you have to buy to watch all these movies and that, you can probably save yourself money by buying a physical copy. I understand there are people who may be minimalists who don't want a lot of stuff hanging around. They might buy digital. Um, Seen a lot of conversations where people are digital only because they don't want clutter in their house. Hearing people talk about they get Game Pass and that because they can just play the game. If they don't like it, whatever, they can move on to the next one. But if you like a game enough, you could, basically go out and buy it if it was in physical form. And I've done that with so many movies still because I want those available because I know I want to watch them over and over again. And that's why digital is just hard on me because not only that, it goes back to that time frame of renting and buying VHS tapes to having them available whenever I wanted. Same with DVDs. There are books that I buy on my Kindle or my Nook that are only sold through there. Maybe they're a book I want to read once and they're cheaper. So I go that way. There was a book that I actually got for an e-reader that I had called Who Censored Roger Rabbit, which is what Who Framed Roger Rabbit is very loosely based off of. To get an actual physical copy of that book was about $50, $60. So I had to do that route. Yeah. Uh, Sorry, keep coughing. But in the end, even with music, it was before digital. If you wanted a song from a cassette or a record or whatever, CD, back when cassettes were a big thing, you could buy a cassette that had an A or B side, but you couldn't always find the music you wanted, so you may have had to buy the CD, and eventually, when CDs started becoming more prevalent, you'd have to buy the entire thing to hear a few songs. Now, with streaming, a lot of artists are moving to streaming only or Bandcamp, where you can buy the album digitally through there. That's something you have to do because this is the way people are releasing stuff. Obviously, it's more cheaper for them than having released the physical media, which once again sucks, but it's the way things are going. I remember, there's a band that I like called Lake of Tears, where I found out about their music, and at that time, I couldn't get into their stuff through Sam Goody, so I was searching the internet, found it on Amazon. That was really the only place I could buy it from, because I buy all their stuff physical copy, because that's what I wanted, because I love them that much. Any band that I really like that has physical content, if I can. Sorry, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. I will buy that physical content no matter what. And as long as bands keep putting out physical media that I really like, I'm going to buy it. I do like some digital, but ultimately, the preservation, the ability to have whatever I want when it's available without having to worry about something delisted. With Sony, and they're taking down, where you can't own anything that more that you bought that was Discovery related, I want that. Because who's to say they're not going to take more stuff down? Now, fortunately, some of these terms and conditions, they do list the right to actually do that. Um, One of the things I was looking at, if I heard about this through Cinemasker on one of the Halloween episodes of South Park where Randy buys the Blockbuster, he sees kids are watching a lot of stuff on digital media. A lot of people cutting cable, that's the way they're going. I've seen so many kids when I worked retail watching cartoons on a tablet or phone. For kids, there are no more kids movies really being released that way. So it is one of those things where we have to look at it. I've been trying to find that balance, but unfortunately for me, it's hard to do because I just want something in my hands that I own. And all those personal experiences and that really are what contributed to me wanting to do this. I just can't see myself buying digital as long as I don't have to with a lot of stuff. And I've been stocking up on Xbox One and PS4 games that I know I'm going to play because I just don't see myself buying anything digital going with Game Pass or anything like that. I know this video is about 22 minutes long almost now, so I'll talk to y'all later. Take care and let me know what you think.